gotta wait for the, oh, see, there we go.
We're ready.
I'll call the meeting to order for April 17th, 2023. Roll call of the members, please.
Leaders.
Here.
Schultz.
Here.
Brett Larson.
Here.
Chapman.
Here.
Silkworth.
Here.
Right.
You've had a chance to read the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes or make corrections?
I make a motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Upon hearing that, I'd ask for a motion to open up the public hearing on case number SUB 2023-01.
Somebody want to read the statement first.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And we'll skip over that case and go to the case ZMA.
All right.
The case number SUB 2023-01, Robert J. and Jana S. Mings. They had originally submitted for that preliminary plat approval, but when it went to the county engineers for their review and comment of it, they noticed some discrepancies in the drawings, and there were a few things that came across that it must have been rushed through at the engineer's office. So our engineer caught those mistakes, sent it back. We advised Bob that it was probably the best idea just to pull it from the agenda for this month, move it to next month, based on the number of discrepancies that there were. So then that way everybody can have the county partners that need to review it can have a clear review of it and offer their comments before it comes to the planning commission. So that's the way we're gonna move forward with that case.
Okay. Then I'll read the statement that was in bold, on my instructions. The public hearings will be conducted pursuant to the Commission's rules of procedure. We will first hear the report of the planning director on the detailed information and observations regarding the request before the Commission, if not done so in writing form prior to the hearing. Next, we'll take the testimony of the applicant and his or her witnesses. Upon completion of the applicant's testimony, I will call upon members of the audience wishing to be heard concerning the request. Persons in favor of the request shall be heard first, followed by those opposed to it. At any time during the presentation of testimony, the members of the commission may interrupt to ask questions or to make comments on what has been said. Upon completion of all testimony, the applicant will be allowed to make a closing statement to the commission. Upon completion of the applicant's closing statement, I will entertain a motion from the commission to close the public hearing on the request. The commission reserves the right to ask questions of any member of the audience. However, we will not hear any unsolicited statements unless the public hearing is first reopened. Each speaker addressing the commission shall step forward to the podium, state your name and address before proceeding with your testimony or evidence. This commission shall not be bound by strict rules of evidence, but does reserve the right to exclude evidence or testimony that it may deem to be irrelevant, immaterial, incompetent, or unduly repetitious. As chairman, I will rule on all questions relating to the admissibility of evidence, which may be overruled by a majority of the commission. Continuances may be granted by the commission in case for good cause shown to any interested party who has entered their appearance. The commission may request a continuance of a hearing for the purpose of giving further notice, taking further evidence, gathering further information, touring the proposed site, or for such other reasons as the commission may find sufficient. In such case, we shall state the specific reasons for the continuance and set a date, time, and place when the matter will be continued. All official actions of this commission will be made at a public meeting by motion made, seconded, and a polling of the membership. If conditions are imposed, such conditions shall be included in the motion or amendment thereto. Our final decision will be prepared in writing and will be part of the public record of this commission.
I'll make a motion to open public hearing for case number ZMA 2023-01.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. The public hearing is open. So would the applicant like to come forward, please? And I take it that you're the applicant. Oh, that's great. If
I
you'd
don't
state,
see too many people here.
if you'd state your name and address, that would be a
Sure.
nice opening
Now,
for you.
the address of my home or the address I'm trying to?
Your home.
Okay, Al Schultz and 16520 State Orchard, Council Bluffs. Does it feel warm in here?
It is.
It is.
Just take a big
It's
deep
always
breath
warm.
and you're
You're
fine.
fine.
All right, so what have you got for us today?
So I purchased a property at 11549 192nd Street for the sole purpose to eventually move my business there. But Schultz Enterprise, we do concrete, flat work, and hauling with dump trucks, one dump truck. I had two, but I sold one. So that's my purpose, so I could move it to industrial, so I could be down there and have the business down there.
Okay. How long have you been down there? Or?
Well, I just bought it probably 7-8 months ago.
Okay.
I've been cleaning it up. We got a permit to raise it out of the flood. We haven't started doing that yet. But we got it cleaned up. I got my temporary power in. And then we'll start moving forward once we see how we're going. I'd like to build a shop in the next 2 to 5 years. Eventually.
Good.
And currently this business is on State Orchard Road
Yes.
at your home?
Yes.
At
And I
the-
really don't, I park vehicles there. It isn't like we do work there.
Right, you're
my-
doing flat work for somebody else.
Yes, yes, so I mean, that's our starting point. I do my payroll there. Some guys come and get a few things out of the shop. My skid loader's parked there. I try to keep it, behind the shop so it isn't, so nobody complains about it all.
Is that right next, you're pretty close to the law enforcement training center, aren't you? Is it real close to that, or is it farther north yet?
Which
That's
one
further
is-
south. The law enforcement training center is
Yeah.
further south.
Yeah, that's more towards, the core on Bundy plant.
So how far are you from like, Blue
Uh,
Central, the old bus barn?
2 miles,
Okay.
2 miles
Okay.
south.
On the same road?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just, on this side of the creek, once you're going down that way on 192nd.
Oh, okay.
You just want a place to have, to keep your equipment
Yeah, pretty much. I
and
mean,
get it off your home property.
Yes.
Keep everything
yes.
separate.
So my employees, I have, it varies between 5 and 12. Maybe 1 or 2 come a day to my house to maybe get the dump truck. One's my son. Once in a while, guys will start there, pick up a trailer, maybe a skid loader.
Okay.
But it isn't like I have a whole pack of people.
Makes sense to me. So it's better to get off State Orchard Road anyway, so.
Well, it's a little tough on top of the hill there
Yeah.
because with the new project coming in, they're doing that road. It's just gonna produce more traffic and people come flying around that corner anyway.
What project they doing?
Just more development up.
Yeah, I can't think of the name of it. They're
On
tearing-
State Orchard Road?
Yes, the road's gonna come out, I think it's a city.
It's the backside of
Stevens
airport.
Road.
Glen.
Yes, Stevens
Yeah.
Road.
That little,
It's like if you were to go through the old Trescott farm, just go straight, it's gonna connect up over there somewhere.
okay.
The city's kind of encompassing that area without, they don't really have a good plan to annex it in, so.
Mine's the last property of the county. And then just on the other side is the city with the
Good.
cell tower.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Any other questions of the applicant? I don't
Think
see,
so.
I don't see any, one to ask them if they would like to come forward, so,
I've talked to the neighbors and kind of explained what I'd like to do. The first neighbor, I think he's a farmer and he didn't really care, but.
all right, thank you.
Sure.
You can have a seat.
Thank you.
There is no one else to come forward. And did we receive any written correspondence or anything about this case from anybody?
No.
No. Okay. Questions or comments from the board?
Nope.
Staff members' recommendation?
We would recommend approval of it. It has been, I think even the future land use plan before this last one in 2015, this area has been kind of designated as the industrial growth area. There are further talks in the county about continuing. We have paved 192nd Street down so far to the new Armstrong Industrial Development that came before us. There's been further talk to continue to pave that road further south all the way down, potentially to that Bellevue interchange area. And so I think we will see more industrial growth kind of in that area. Google's releasing some of their buffer parcels that they had, and as they do, people are buying them up to do things like this. And so.
And that is entirely in the floodway or floodplain.
Floodplain
Those
area.
areas, and,
Yeah.
and this property owner has elevated his property or plans to do that.
Mhm.
Every business that would be doing that would have to do the same, right?
Most of them will, because it will help them with their insurance, and a lot of the people, like Mr. Schultz here, that are moving to that area right now, have the ability to do it. There's a lot of, the Armstrong people were dirt moving, that was his business, so he had the ability to elevate his lot. There's another one going on right now, Buck Morris, and he has a 40-acre parcel down there that he's elevating. Cox.
John Cox.
Yeah, John Cox is down there as well. They're elevating ground down there, so I think we'll kind of continue to see some of that activity, at least with these developments, because they have the ability. It's cheap for them to do.
John Cox was just in, was it last year? Was he here for the same thing? Seemed to me like that's exactly what we did for him down there, so.
I think he did buy one of Google's
Yeah, he
buffer
did.
parcels.
Mhm.
Oh,
He
another
has
one?
48.
At that time, when
Oh,
he came
okay.
in, he
Yeah.
had purchased a 40-acre
Okay.
chunk. He bought one, and Morris bought one. I think
Okay.
they released two at that time, so.
But elevating is not required for a building permit?
No, because they could potentially floodproof the structure if they chose.
Mhm.
Because it is just in the floodplain.
Yeah.
But I think what they were telling me is the amount of money they save on insurance by doing that. And then, all of the buildings that they built in the industrial park so far have been sprinkled, and, the cost savings that they're getting out of that by their insurance outweighs everything else, so.
I'll make a motion to close public hearing.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say
Aye.
Aye.
aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carried. The public hearing is closed. Any more discussion?
Seems like it's a good fit for the area. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's kind of where, like Matt said, it's where it's kind of planned to go with this industrial stuff, so seems like the right place for it.
Do we have a policy on filling in the floodplain?
No, nothing more than what the NFPA guidelines allow us, or not NF, but the FEMA guidelines allow us to do.
There's not a sort of plan that will only fill a certain percentage of it, or we shouldn't fill any of it, or,
Floodway areas,
Yeah,
we don't,
floodway.
we don't allow those things to happen in, but, in the floodplain area, people can elevate those pieces.
as much as they desire. If I own 40 acres in a floodplain, I could elevate the whole thing.
Yeah, well, if you have the ability, well,
Dirt.
there's,
Right, I know, I
There's-
know, but I'm
there's
just-
parts of it that go along with it too. So yes, you can elevate, but at the same time, you have to retain water from it. You can't push more water off on your neighbors, right? So you have to retain all that water that comes onto your property. So these guys are elevating, yes, but they're also building big retention basins out there as well to hold the water that they're produced.
Yeah.
So, there's multiple drainage districts down in that area that they have to work with, on top of that, so they get a permit from the state, they get a permit from us, then they gotta work with their drainage district, and there's quite a few layers that go with it.
I don't think we'd have to worry too much about everybody raising it up, but not at this
Well-
point anyway, but it's a good question, but.
With as much flooding as we've seen in the last
10 years.
10 years, decade, a little bit more, you know, how much should we be filling in our floodplains is a question that.
It'll flood at some point in time.
Well, it will.
Maybe, I mean, that place has held up the last few floods we've had, so we haven't had any problems down there.
Kind of the
I've worked at Sire for the last 14 years, and we had to elevate ours 8 feet. I mean, it's really not gonna do anything other than maybe push it, might actually protect it better even having to raise it up anyhow, so.
Well, I know that elevating certainly protects that individual structure, but it does reduce the amount of flood capacity that there is during a flood. I mean, however
Maybe.
little that might be, but it's
But-
multiple.
A large portion of this ground down there, 600 acres of it anyway, the farmer that is kind of by this area, sounds like they're kind of looking at locking in on a solar farm.
There.
So that would be kind of protect at least 600 acres of it, that would just be solar panels, that will flood and.
There's another outfit that's looking at trying to do something down there too, connection with the ethanol plant, so take up probably another chunk of that.
All right. Is there a motion?
Somebody go ahead.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
How about if we
No,
have a
no,
motion
no.
to act
Oh,
on
sorry.
this case?
I
That
withdraw my
first,
motion.
we either approve or deny this case, it would be the motion that I think might be the right thing.
To be clear, we are not related, even though we have the same last name, so make sure everyone understands that before I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second, roll call vote,
Stokeworth,
yes.
Chapman,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Schultz,
Yes.
Leaders.
Yep,
Oh, sorry.
there you go.
All right,
Now we can do the other motion.
your
Tell 'em.
case has been approved.
All right.
And will be forwarded on to the Board of Supervisors accordingly. Is there any other business?
No other business?
All right, now it's, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say
Aye.
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 Sorry, I just